Hey everyone, and welcome back to South Carolina. It's finally cooling off. It's fall, but you know, we still had some 90-degree days. Been too hot to come outside and do anything. So now that cool weather's hitting, here's the follow-up video for the Oregon 18-inch chainsaw. Now, this isn't the first time I've used it. I've been using it a little bit. I cut down that little dying maple right there, and it did fairly well. And I don't know if you can see the two cedars. Let's see, one of them is right there and the other one is behind that tree there, and I trimmed the overgrown low-lying branches on it, and it performed well. You know, that was the real test up to now. But today we've got the dead pine, and this thing, I don't know, it's probably maybe 30 feet, but it is dead. Like I said, I bought this property in January, and I knew it was going to have to come down. Well, spring hit, and all of a sudden it bloomed with green leaves. And I said, well, I don't think a pine tree is supposed to have leaves on it. So upon further inspection, I don't know if you can see, but it was loaded with poison oak vines all the way up through the top. I mean, it was just full. And so I cut the vines off. It had 3 big vines. So I cut those off about head high and sprayed Roundup on what I could, pulled those down, and so now I have to get this tree cut down, cut up, and hauled off the property, because it's just got poison ivy vines entangled throughout the whole thing. And I'm sure most of y'all are aware, but you should never burn poison oak, wood that has poison oak on it, because the smoke off of it can be deadly. You know, you do not want to be breathing that. You know, I've got neighbors, they're not really close, but there's no way I would risk that. So I'll get this cut down and hauled off the property, make it safe for everybody. Kids won't be getting in it. So anyway, the chainsaw, like I said, it worked really well. Cutting down the maple, I would say after every 2 or 3 big cuts, I would hit the self sharpener for about 3 to 5 seconds, and the self sharpener works fairly well. You know, you can tell the difference afterwards. But this right here is probably going to be the real test. As you can see, you know, it's 18-inch blade, 18-inch bar. So that tree is probably a good 18 inches in diameter. And, you know, we're going to have to cut that up into manageable sizes. So that's going to be a lot of cutting. So anyway, let's get everything set up and we'll come back and chop this boy down. All right, so we're just going to do a standard phase cut and a back cut, and watch this thing fall. perfect, just where I wanted it. Maybe my hinge was a little off, but it fell and it looks good. So I'm gonna call that a win. It's always pretty exciting watching that tree fall. So anyway, now's the hard part. Get that thing cut up, all the limbs cut off, and we'll come back. All right, folks, well, there you have it. The power of the Oregon CS1500. Probably took me maybe 15-20 minutes. Cut that whole tree up. Cut right through it. You might notice on the time lapse, you saw me disappear for a minute. Well, I finally managed to trip the breaker with this thing. So, of course, it says it's a 15 amp saw. I noticed that the outlet I had it plugged in had a 10 amp breaker, and I was pressing down pretty hard on this thing. I was trying to make short work of it, and you know, it finally tripped. But that was the only time. You know, once you dig your claws in right there and you start using that leverage, I mean, that's one thing about this. I don't believe I've ever really bogged down a good gas two-stroke chainsaw, but you know, I did bog this thing down. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Looks like it did a pretty good job. You know, these are some fairly large trees, you know. I mean, you can see there maybe, and it did it. Cut the stump off nice and even. Like I said, I would sharpen it. I would hit the sharpening lever every, I don't know, 2 or 3 big logs, maybe once, doing all that. So there you go. You know, if you're a homeowner and you need something inexpensive to clear a couple trees, hey, just best bang for your buck right there. All right, well, thanks for watching, everybody, and hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got a little information, and come back and see us.